And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people procrastinate is because of the anticipation. Because I do see like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing overcoming procrastination. And the reason why we're discussing it is because I know, or at least for me, early on in high school, I used to procrastinate doing my homework. And, we've seen our classmates procrastinate. They do it last minute. Project is due on Monday. They wait until Sunday, and then they get it done.
Yep.
And I know for the most part, or for some people, it transfers on after high school when it comes to if they want to, get into a profession, they take a while to get into, a college or a trade. And then also, like, if they want to start their own thing, it takes them a while to actually start, getting the ball rolling. And my first question is, for you, have you ever, had that problem of procrastination?
I'm trying to think, and I think for me, okay, back to school, I think it was a little bit different. Because I think I had a different, not mindset, but the way I thought is, I remember summer school or vacations. I remember they used to leave us a packet of homework.
Yep.
And I remember in math particularly, they used to leave us a packet of homework to do math. I'm like, and then so, but I know that I didn't want to, because I guess I tend to worry more, or I just tend to worry, or I just have things in the back of my head that kind of like are lingering there. And so for me, it was a lot easier to finish it that day. For example, like that Friday when we started going on vacation, I just did it that day. Like that day, one day I finished the homework. Now I didn't have to worry about it. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people procrastinate is because of the anticipation. Because I do see like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this. Because I also heard another story of like in business that this person knew that they needed to learn the skill. I forgot what skill it was, but it was a skill that was relatively quick to learn. But I think it was a little bit daunting. That skill, like, daunting. So I think it's the anticipation of having to learn it was the thing that's daunting. So it took them like, I think 3 years in order to start learning that skill. And within 4 hours, they had already learned it. So I think it came with anticipation. So at least for me, I think something that helps is once you do the thing you're going to do, you don't have to worry about it. And so I think that's the thing that helped me. I'm trying to think of other things that I procrastinated. I don't know if there's anything that on your end that you've seen that I procrastinated in, because I'm just going back to school, kind of like that example is, not having to worry about things later on is the thing that helped me just get moving. But do you remember anything procrastinating?
On your end, no. But I remember on my end, like I would procrastinate, and I guess it's the same thing that I don't know why I procrastinated.
Do you think you were just like not lazy, but you think I'll do it eventually?
Oh, because I didn't like homework. I didn't like doing it.
I don't think anyone did.
I think it was easier. It was just a lot easier for me to forget about it. And then, when the time came, like, fuck, let me just get it all done. I have a deadline, so now the pressure's on me to, get it complete. So, it's going to take me like maybe an hour, 2 hours, and I'll just get it done.
And so I know you say no one likes homework.
Nope.
But do you think it was also like the fact that you had to do it, like it was a bunch of like, let's say, problems? Because if it was just a small minor thing, like throwing out the trash per se.
So yeah, I think just going back to the homework, I think also the reason why is because let's just say they gave you a packet of homework, over the summer. I think it's going in knowing you have a lot of time to get it done.
Okay,
and it's just like, I'll just get it done tomorrow. I'll just get it done the next day. I'll get it done the next day. You start maybe like a page here, a page there, and then you're like, this is enough for today. I'll get it done the next day. So I think it's a little bit of that. And I think as, you progress, it becomes a habit. So it becomes instilled in you to, just brush it off to the side, deal with things that are more important, and then you're going to come back to it.
But when you say more important, did he actually deal with things that were more important? It was just the fact
that are more important to you, what you want to do.
Right.
So like if you want to go out, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but if you want to go out, like do sports activities, then you go ahead and do that.
So then I guess going back to it, do you think it also had to do with the magnitude of the thing that you needed to do? For example, homework, it was going to take a while. But for example, like if I'm like when I mentioned like something that's super quick, do you think that that's a factor in it too? Like how much effort goes into the thing that you need to do?
No, I think it does.
Yeah,
Yeah, because something so simple, you could just get it done right away.
Yeah, because like sending an email, like, you know, just you know, like, you do it right away. But if, for example, if you had to fill out a whole essay, or for example, like a whole, like, you know, let's just say an essay, you probably think about it more.
Yep.
In doing it. And also, I think one of the things that you said that also kind of like, that is true, is the time frame. Because if you know you have like weeks or months to do it,
yep,
I think that's kind of what your brain makes you think, that, you know, to, like, you know, you have a lot of time. But for example, if you had to do that day, like taxes deadline, we had to do it that day, we can't wait. And so we had to send out that email to the accountants or whatever it is. I think, you know, you can't really procrastinate. And so I think that's also one of the reasons why people procrastinate, is because they know they have a long time to figure it out or to do it. And so I think that's why that happens. Yeah, that's one of the things that you said, that I'm, you know, it makes sense.
I think one of the reasons why we procrastinate is because of the distractions. And I say, you know, just going out of high school, remember when we were first starting the business?
Yeah,
I was the first one to go full time. Yeah, and then so, like, one of the things that, you know, you can get distracted, especially like when you're by yourself, is your phone or technology, or, you know, like notifications. So I noticed that, at least for myself, I work better when there's multiple people around, because you're keeping each other accountable. You know, you're working, so I have to work, and then if I'm working, you have to work, and so, like, we had to get the work done. But I noticed that, you know, for myself, and then I know, like, some of the people, you know, that I would talk to, it was the same thing, that if it's, you know, if they're working by themselves, they get distracted with their phone. Like, yeah, they're working for like an hour, 2 hours. They hear a notification on their phone. They start, you know, scrolling the notification. Then they start scrolling social media. Then before you know it, 30 minutes, an hour passes by. So that's one of the things I noticed, that maybe if you tend to procrastinate, because it's happened to me, instead of trying to work by yourself, maybe, you know, work with someone else. Even if you're not working on the same thing, if you're working, let's just say, on homework, and I'm working on a business, or, you know, I'm working on writing emails and you're working on something else, I think it's good working with multiple people.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And then with that, that's kind of like something that some people have, no? Because I've noticed that there's other people that work well by themselves and they rarely get distracted. And so you think there's a way to kind of get to that point where you, like, it doesn't matter, like, the environment matters, but, like, for example, changing that aspect that you have.
I think there's a lot of different things, and like you said, each person is different, because I noticed some people, like you mentioned, they work well, you know, by themselves. But I think it's more of critical thinking type of work, like if you're on the computer, because I also know, like, if you're by yourself but you're working manual labor, I don't think you get distracted.
Like, when you say manual, like, always continuously doing, like, stuff?
Yeah, because when I used to work in the Superior, I was by myself picking up the carts.
Yep.
I wouldn't get distracted.
But do you think, because there was, like, accountability there, like, if you didn't get it, like, the manager would tell you something?
I think so. Like, yes, I agree, that's a factor, pressure, but I also think it's a lot different, you know, manual labor or, like, physical things that you know, you're working on physically, as opposed to critical thinking. Because critical thinking, if something is too hard, you move on, you get distracted, I'll come back to it. But with the, you know, like, if you're working something physical, either way it needs to get done. So, like, it's a lot easier to get less distracted, because once you're in the flow, once you're in the zone, I feel like it's a lot easier to stay there.
I think, you know, as you were talking and as we were talking, one of the things that I think also is, like, is different at a job than owning your own business. Because, like, for the things that you say, even, like, pretty much everyone here doesn't get too distracted to the point of, like, you know, scrolling, like, you know, a long time. Because they have that pressure. If I see them, or let's say, as an example, if I see them, I'll tell them something. And so I think it's very different, because I think if you put yourself in a situation, let's say you were working at a job, I don't think that you would go to the same extent that you would here.
Right, but if because that's two different things. That's one being an employee and one being
right, and because you have that pressure, that accountability of things as to, you know, and so I guess I'm going, like, with that pressure and accountability of having to do the things. I think if you put yourself in that environment with the other, like, you know, with the things that you know you need to procrastinate, if you put that own pressure on yourself, or, you know, accountability, then I think that would help a lot of people, like, setting goals and saying it, like, publicly. I think that would get a lot of people moving, because then they, you know, I feel like a lot of people want to be a person of their word. And so I think they would actually go ahead, and if people know that they're, you know, that's what they're gonna do, I think they would have more pressure and actually, like, be more procrastinate less and actually go do it.
If we want to compare everything the same, let's just say I had to wash 20 cars, and it's because I had, for example, 20 cars. I wasn't working for anyone else. I had to get it done. Or I had to write, like, for myself, like, 20, 30, 40, 100 emails. I think it's a lot easier just to get, the cars done, because it's so easy. It's manual. Like, you get in the flow, you get them done. When it comes to emails, you have to think. You get brain fog. So that's what I mean when I say, like, it's a lot easier to get this. In my opinion, it's a lot easier to get distracted doing one thing than the other thing.
I think for me at least, I think it's more of the setting. Because, like, I feel like the cars, if there's owners and they need to get the car washed, I think there's...
Right, I'm saying for my cars. I have 20 cars.
Okay, you mentioned you have 20 cars.
Yeah, if we want to... And that's why I'm saying, like, if we want to keep everything the same, everything standard...
Yeah, no, I get that. And then one of the things that I'm thinking is because, like, when it comes to, like, well, your email, you're on the computer, it's a lot easier to get distracted than you being in the cars. Like, it's very hard to get distracted when you're actually working on like, the stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Right, but I think because you have easier access, like, to other stuff.
Yes.
Because even if you have complex things, like in construction sites, or you had to figure this that as architecture, where you don't really need to do labor, I think you really wouldn't be able to get distracted with that kind of thing. So I think more than anything, it's kind of the access of being able to get distracted. The computer's there, your phone is there, you have to do something there. It's a lot easier to get distracted.
And that's why I'm saying it's different things. And I think going back, because we went on a big sidetrack, just focusing on one thing. But I think one of the things that works for myself, and I mean, maybe not everyone is as focused as some people where, they just sit there and they could get the job done. Both people have a reason, but some people, maybe they're just designed, or their brain is wired differently than others. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why I'm saying, one of the reasons why if it's a little bit difficult to work on yourself, I think just having someone next to you, that in and of itself is enough to, push you a little bit more to, stop procrastination. Right. And I think a good one is, I know there's workspaces where you could just rent out a place, and, there's a lot of people working on, like, their own stuff. And I think just being in that environment, like how you mentioned, changing your environment, I think it's good enough to, lessen that procrastination.
Yeah, I agree. And then one of the things, like, I remember you asked me similarly, what if they can't? Like, let's say, what if they're like, let's say they start a business where they really don't need to be around anyone. And then they're just starting, so they don't have the money. Yeah. What can they do? For someone like that you mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, I think one of the easiest things is just to remove anything that... remove anything that can get you distracted. Like, if you're gonna get distracted with your phone, put it on silent. And then obviously, like, for emergencies, just let them come through. Turn off all TVs, no TVs, because I know some people, they say they work well with watching a TV, watching a movie. But just think of it as you're working for someone else, because like how you mentioned, I know it's when you're working for someone else, like, fuck, man, like, it's different. Yeah, and I don't know why we're wired like that. Because I know, same thing. A lot of people are, well, some of them, not everyone, are wired where they're willing to work for other people, like straight, like have that accountability for other people. But when it comes for, working for yourselves, it's a lot different. You're like, I have all this time. I'll get it done. I don't feel like it.
It was like that one phrase. I forgot how they used it. But it's like, you're willing to work hard, for someone else's future, but then, like, you're not willing to work for your own future. That kind of reminded me of that kind of phrase that they used to say. And it's kind of true, but you were saying?
Yeah, just remove the temptations. Because I know, like how you mentioned, we could have easily played movies when we were working. When we were at the beginning stage, we were doing the manual labor, actually, like, fulfilling the orders, creating them. We could have easily, put on a movie. But I think just remove any temptations, put your phone on silent or on do not disturb to let emergency calls through. And then no TVs. I mean, you could put music. Yeah. Because I think music helps. Yeah. Yeah. But, like, everything else, just, forget about that. And then if you find that you can't work like 2, 3, 4 hours straight, I would say take like 10-minute breaks.
2, 3, 4 hours straight. Right.
Yeah. So like if like I'm working on something on my business, and then if I cannot work like 3 or 4 hours straight, right, I would say just every hour take like a 10-minute break. And I think as time goes by, you are gonna get used to it. because it's not always going to stay the same that you're always going to procrastinate on your own business. Once you get into the flow, once you get better, once it starts growing, in a sense, it becomes more fun. It becomes more interesting because there's a lot of other things to do that you get used to not procrastinating.
And so then you would say, so I guess kind of like for some of the things that people can do, one of them is remove any distractions that you may have.
Yeah, because I get distracted with my phone.
So remove TVs. Okay, let's remove the things that are not required in order for you to do the thing that you wanted it to do. Right? So remove TVs, you mentioned. Remove, let's say, cell phones, putting it on silence.
Yep.
Or, for example, like, and only in case of emergencies. So removing those type of things. What else can someone do?
I think those are the main things, because obviously, like how you mentioned, or how we mentioned, everyone is different, and then certain people are going to have certain triggers. Not everyone is going to have the same trigger to get distracted or to get procrastinated. So I think you have to find what triggers you. If, like how I mentioned, if it's cell phones, if it's I'm working at home, I have family members there, I have a spouse, I have children, I have pets. Maybe just put yourself in a room, work from there. And like how I mentioned, it's just finding your own triggers and seeing what, tends to get you distracted and try to reduce that.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that.
Well, I think everything we said was well said. And one of the final thoughts that, one of the person, I remember we were going to seminars, but one person said this is, to help with procrastination is don't leave it for the next day. If you could get it done today, get it done. And so like, I don't think it's specifically tying to this, but like, I know if you park and there's a meter and you tell yourself, oh, it's only going to take, I have a quarter, but it's only going to take like a minute, 2 minutes. And, you go in the store, you come back, you get a ticket.
Yep.
And, like that 25 cents becomes $30, becomes $50, becomes $80. So like you mentioned, if you could do it right now, like what's so hard about, you already have that quarter. What's so hard of just putting it inside? Even though you're going to take a minute, 2 minutes, what's so hard about that? Just put in the quarter, save yourself a parking ticket.
Because I'm pretty sure that's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I'm like, you're nickeling and diming.
Yeah.
And then, because of that, now, you see the effects.
Yeah.
70, 80, 90. Yeah. And I think tickets right now are a lot more expensive. That's happened to me before where... I don't think it was the dime, but, just I'm going to park here really quick. I don't know if it's related to the thing they were saying, but no, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so if you could send that email today, send that email. If you could get something done for your own business, for yourself, get it done today. If you're working on social media, get that video out today. Work on the next video tomorrow. Like, just get what you can out today.
And then I think one of the things that I continuously keep saying, and it's just, also know the reason, and it's just repetitive, and so I'm gonna be repetitive. It's just know the reason why you're doing it, and I think if you know why you're doing it, I think everything else becomes a lot easier. Procrastination kind of starts to dissipate, and you sort of start changing, based on the thing that as to for us, like I'll say my parents.
Yep.
With my parents, I don't really want to procrastinate it.
Yep.
And so it sounds repetitive, but originally we were doing it for our parents. It was hard for us to procrastinate. Just remember, we were working 7 days a day. There was times where we got up at 5 to go to the jobs or whatever, and then came back at 10. Because we finished listening at that time.
Yep.
And so, if you also know, the reason why you're doing things, I think that procrastination should also, it should fall into place too. And obviously, like how you mentioned the different things that you could also do. You stack those things, and I think procrastination will become, a thing of the past. And so just, doing those different things, and it adds up. And I think that'll help with the procrastination.
Yeah, just find the reason why you're doing the thing.
Yeah.
If it's not your parents, it's because maybe you want to become successful. You want it so bad.
Yep.
Maybe you were hurt.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
You want to prove yourself. Someone called you a loser. Someone called you're not gonna make it.
Yep.
Nobody.
If it's good, I feel like my parents, it was a good thing.
Yeah.
But if it's bad, people always look down upon you. People thought you were going to be loose. People thought you weren't smart.
Yep.
People thought, you were going to be, a loser in life, You use that negativity to kind of fuel your thing. If you're an angry person, use that to fuel your, your drive and your wants. And so, like you mentioned, like you use those things to your advantage.
Yep.
But with that, do you have any other final thoughts?
No, everything was well said.
If you have any tips on overcoming procrastination, please make sure to leave them down in the comments down below. And if that's all we had to say, then this has been another episode. My name is Juan.
My name is Alexis.
And we'll see you on the next one.